Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another edition of the Madness and Mayhem podcast. Yeah, a chance for you to slip on some headphones and let me slip into your brain with some storytelling, a little bit of fun without having to worry about all the action in the background, although you will see in the background some Blade and Sorcery here. I do like to play it all the time, and so we'll put a little bit back there to give you something to look at, but this is more of a chance for you to just chill out and, listen to some stuff. So today I wanted to talk about something kind of cool and kind of weird, and it is the multiverse. Now, there is a concept that it covers that there is not just one universe, the one that we live in. The concept goes that there are several types of them, and the infinite numbers of them, in fact, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Anyway, I hope you are doing well wherever you are today, whether it's day or night, or you just realized a big, huge portal just ripped open in front of you, and you can see the entirety of the multiverse. Now, before you go insane, put that portal closed, and we'll talk a little bit about what you're going to expect to see. Now, today, like I said, I want to talk about the multiverse, and it is something that has absolutely fascinated me for as long as I can, remember grasping the concept of quantum physics and things like that. It's interesting. Scientists have been talking more and more, debating more and more about whether there is actually the concept of multiple universes. And in general, they're coming to the same conclusion, which is, yeah, there probably are several different universes. And so you start to wonder, what are the main kind of ideas behind this? Well, there's two main theories, okay? The first theory is based off of the string theory method, which means that there are little fluctuations at a quantum level, a tiny little, the smallest that you can zoom in on things, and you see that reality is created by these kind of fundamental strings, and the way that they vibrate in different harmonies is what creates the reality that we live in. Now, before your brain explodes, I'm not going to go any further into string theory and how it works. That would be a completely different topic that I could talk about 2.5 hours on. I am not going to college professor give a lecture on this right now, but I wanted to give you just a basis of what one of them kind of does. Now, because it's from string theory, it gets a little weird, and it's really hard for us to understand, okay? Now, it is the one that explains that life, the simplicity of the multiverse versus a single one, right? This is off the Wikipedia article. It is more likely than not that there are multiple universes, and it is more likely than not that those multiple universes come from a fundamental tiny level of our reality and existence. Okay. That's the one that I like to say is extremely confusing and extremely weird, but it is also the one that is the basis for something like the Marvel universe, okay? The multiverse that they introduced in Doctor Strange, all right? That sort of thing could be based theoretically on string theory, which means that there are just multiple universes that exist based on the fact that there are a likelihood of those things existing. Now, when you have an infinite amount of time and an infinite amount of possibilities, you get an infinite amount of universes. And that means if you've ever seen something like the show Sliders back in the day, it was a cable TV show, I think on USA, I can't remember, that used to explore the concept of there are multiple universes, and there's just a tiny little thing different in each of the universes. Now, whether that means that you happen to be Elvis, or you're the Emperor, or you're the most hated serial killer on the planet, or you're part of a space force that goes out and battles aliens that have come, or whatever it is, the idea is that there are different tiny little differences in each of those universes. Now, what that also means is that there are several universes out there that existed just for a second and then they were gone. Now, why? Why would that happen? Well, it kind of has to do with the fundamental laws of physics, okay? In a lot of these universes where they just poof into existence for a second, but they don't have the correct, constants for gravity. They don't have the correct constants for nuclear fission or anything like that. And so the universe gets started, and in an instant, just in a femtosecond, which is like, It's 10 times faster, 100 times faster than you can blink your eye. The quantum mechanics around that say, okay, here's a universe, but everything is set up to fail. It doesn't have the right ingredients, and so boom, it's gone right before you can even think about it. This also leads to interesting concepts like somewhere out there in the universe, anything can pop into existence for just an instant and then poof, pop back out of existence. And that's an infinite possibility thing. So for just an instant, somewhere along the way, you in your exact makeup, just for a tiny fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a second, is going to poof somewhere in space and then poof, gone. You won't know it, okay, but it'll happen. That's because the concept of string theory allows us to have that many levels and that many multiple instances of our universe. Are you confused yet? Okay, we're going to pass on to the more interesting one in my idea. And this is one that I think is a lot more easy to grasp, and it's one that I think is a lot more fun to talk about. So we're going to go from the one that is the Marvel Multiverse kind of idea, or if you've ever seen Jet Li in The One, that idea is that there's a fixed number of universes. He's trying to go to each of them in order to kill the other versions of it. Anyway, that's a good movie. Go watch it. It's a little cheesy, but whatever. It's got Statham in it, Nathan Statham. Anyway, I get off on tangents real easy. Now, the other kind of the multiverse idea comes from something called alternate history. Okay. So what this does is, let's say you are driving to a concert, okay? And you have the choice to turn left to go to the concert or right to go to the gas station in order to get some drinks before you go to the concert. At that very moment when you make that choice, poof, another universe gets created. A universe where you turned the opposite way and did the opposite thing. Let's say you wake up tomorrow morning and your snooze alarm goes off, right? No, your alarm goes off and you hit snooze, right? Poof, another universe just got invented where you hit the snooze button as opposed to waking up. That other universe was you waking up. Now, what does that mean? It's kind of like the Back to the Future version, where they go into the past, they change a couple little things, and then you go to the future, and it's like, oh God, what just happened, right? So if you have the multiple universes that are created every single time someone makes a choice, something random happens, flip a coin right now. Go get a coin and flip it, okay? Another universe was just created because of you. Now this gets really deep because every single little choice that you make throughout the day, in theory, can start an entire new universe. And so whether you decided to have chicken instead of pork at your last meal, or whether you decided to fill up your gas tank all the way or not, or whether you decided to go to bed 5 minutes early or late, you know what I'm saying? Every single time there is a new universe that poofs into existence, and there you go. It's living its own place. Now, where did this concept first happen? Okay. Now, this came a long time ago, a really long time ago. As a matter of fact, the 6th century BCE, where, the pre-Socratic Greek philosophers were sitting around. This was before Socrates, right? They're all sitting around and they're going, there's this idea, there are multiple worlds, but they weren't really sure how to flesh out the concept. They were talking about, well, maybe they're all at the same time, maybe kind of like what we've been talking about, all these universes that exist all at the same time, or they just kind of happen one after another in an infinite fashion, right? So kind of how we think the Big Bang goes, there's one theory called the Big Crunch, where everything goes out, it goes Big Bang, poof, everything expands, and then slowly over time it all shrinks and contracts, and then poof, back into another Big Bang, and there you go, another multiple reality happened. Well, the first time that we actually got the concept of more worlds like put down on paper, right? The ancient Greeks, there was a group of them called the atomists, okay? And it's a fundamental belief called atomism, which that's where the word atom comes from, actually. They thought that the universe was made up of tiny, tiny little bits of invisible matter called atoms. Sounds kind of like that's a thing, right? So they suggest in this idea that the world eternally blows up and then regenerates. Then in Wikipedia it says they're effectively suggesting the existence of multiple universes across time. So that's the idea, again, that, you know, each universe gets created after the first one blows up, and then you keep going on and on and on. It's kind of like an echo, right? You yell into a canyon, and every time it echoes back, that's another universe being created and going on in existence. The idea of the multiverse wasn't really coined until 1895 by a philosopher and psychologist called William James. But he kind of said that it was something different, right? He didn't really think of it the same way. He just kind of coined the term multiverse, which is what we use today for that. It is an interesting concept. Now, we're going to go even deeper into it. So if there are multiple universes that are created every single time that someone makes a choice, and it's not just you, it's every time that a bird decides whether to swoop down on a worm that they see or not to. Poof, new universe because of a bird, you know? I think that's an amazingly funny concept, at the same time being just totally mind-blowing. But let's think about it. Like I said with the movie The One with Jet Li, multiple instances of one person that are, existing in multiple universes all at the same time. Well, that means that there is an alternate version of you infinitely in a bunch of infinite universes. Well, here's the question that I want to ask. How many of those, alternate versions of you do you think are still alive because of the choices that were made? I say this a lot on a regular basis, especially after I do one of these videos, one of the content where I talk about I made some stupid choices. I am positive that in 80% of the other universes, I'm gone. There's nothing left of me. I either got vaporized, or I just got hit by a bus or something like that, or I got shot or stabbed or poisoned or whatever in a universe where I decided not to divorce my ex-wife. She probably would have killed me by now with a shotgun or something. You know what I'm saying? Or, since there's infinite universes, she's probably wasted me in an infinite amount of ways. So, you start to get into this thing where it's like, how many universes do I still exist in? Because obviously there's going to be the ones where you're president, or you're the emperor of the world, or you're the most famous music person who's ever musicked ever in history, or you turned out to be Socrates back in history, and then you got reincarnated into yourself. Remember, the rules change and they're very fluid in these ideas of the multiverse. Okay, so that means that anything can happen to anyone. And not only can it happen, because, again, you have infinite possibility, infinite time, and infinite, combinations of this string theory or of those choices that you make. No matter which one of the two you choose, you're going to end up with new choices, right? And so how many of those people are still alive out there in all of those weird, infinite possibilities? It's really something that I wrap my head around and I go, what the hell? So which one do you think is more likely? Is it something where it's down on this tiny little level where it's, totally indecipherable for us? Because trust me, like I said at the beginning, string theory is deep. It goes into some stuff that it's fundamental physics, it's phenomenology, which is looking into weird things, right? Scientifically, there's mathematics, there's theories, there's, like I said, quantum physics is just absolutely there's a basic concept with quantum physics that says everything's really small, but the further you zoom in, everything gets bigger. Does that make sense, right? And everything kind of mirrors itself in terms of the tiny little bits that make up reality. And so you have things like gluons and muons and quarks and antiquarks and what do they have names like left quarks and right quarks. But zoom in even further, you get these strings, right? These strings that make up all reality, and you pluck one string and an entire new universe gets created. If you believe that is how things go, let me know in the comments. If you're a person that believes like the Back to the Future kind of thing, or that every single time you make a choice, something different, another universe gets poofed into existence, and if so, how many of you are left out there in the multiverse, and why? Right? How many dumb decisions did you make in your life? I know I made a lot of dumb decisions, and that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm probably about 80%. There's only probably about 20% of the Orpheuses out there in the multiverse just sitting around going, you know, I should probably entertain people a little bit today. And so that's what I did for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it kind of made you think a little bit and didn't blow your mind too bad. But that's some of the concepts that I sit around and think about a lot. And I hope that I kind of spurred some thoughts in you. Anyway, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like, subscribe, and do all that other YouTube stuff. That means that other people will know that this is a cool video to watch or listen to. And they'll get as much enjoyment out of it as you. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, like I said. And be well, do well, and treat yourself well. Because you know what? You absolutely deserve it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.